What's up, football fans? It's time for another picks and predictions, and look no further than right here, right now, for the conference championship games. And I'm so looking forward to both of these matchups. However, as you know, on picks and predictions, we have to see how we did last week, which was the divisional round, and we did pretty well, 3-1. We didn't do that bad. We tally ourselves at a 75% accuracy on this one at the very least. Granted, there's only 4 games to pick from, but it is what it is. As you guys already noticed, that the camera is still pointed downwards, and I'm leaning back heavy. My back is giving me a lot more issues than I expected. My recovery seems to be peaks and valleys, unfortunately, and today is going down to the valleys. But I want to make sure, just in case this valley continues, that I manage to get this one out. So bear with me if I need to pause, here and there, just due to the bruised lung catching up with the bruised ribs, catching up with the bruised everything else. So, anyways, moving on to our actual results here. Rams and Bears. I picked the Rams, and they won. But just like the Panthers game, what is with all these calls? Like, there is so much controversy around the Panthers game and now around the Bears game against the Rams. And on both sides of the ball, it's not just all in Rams' favor. It just seems like there are so many controversial calls, and not small calls. We're not talking like a 5-yard this and a 10-yard that. We're talking like PI at 31 yards and stuff like that. That is not PI and stuff. Like, it's weird. It's really, really weird. I don't think it's caused by the Rams. I just think it's weird that both games, back-to-back, seem to have this issue. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is there, but the Rams do end up beating the Bears. And now they're going to have to face against the winner of the 49ers and Seattle game, which was... Well, let's be honest, that was always going to happen. The 49ers are far too beat up on the Seattle Seahawks, the strongest team, in my opinion, in the league. And at the end of the day, it was going to probably happen anyway. Even a full-on healthy 49ers, I still think Seattle wins by around a touchdown. They got dog-walked here in this game. It would have been a game had they been fully healthy, but I still would have put my chips in the Seattle bucket, I think. So, thankfully, we have this wonderful tool called the edit button, and we were able to edit out, my pause in between talking about the Seattle game, now into the Houston Texans versus New England Patriots game, which is our one loss. I've been saying it since, the later weeks, week 15, 16, that Houston Texans were the dark horse. And good for them. Good for them to make it to the divisional round. They did all right against the Patriots, but unfortunately that defense, it was too much for them, and I do feel bad. I do feel bad for the Texans. I wanted them to take this. I wanted them to take it all the way, at least get to the Super Bowl. Unlikely to win because, once again, let's be honest, Seattle is winning this whole thing. But I did want the Texans to do better than this. There was a lot of mistakes made. CJ Stroud, the amount of mistakes in a playoff game of all times to make. I think it was my brother who brought up a stat that said that he has a worse passing percentage than someone who spikes the ball in that game. Like, that is how bad he played that game. And it's just, that was not the team that was going to show up. And this is my problem with the fact that New England is getting this far, is because, and now they're going to go up against a very, a no quarterback Broncos once again. New England has the way paved for them, and were they to face any of the NFC teams, I think would be a far different story, because the fact that Texans decided to play the worst quarterback game of the season, of the year, was a factor. and then they take it, and then they move on. Then we have Bills versus Broncos, but now after this, Nix is hurt. So the Broncos beat the Bills, but what is going to happen this week into the conference championships? You know what I mean? Because once again, one man does not make a team, but a lot of teams are based around their quarterback. You lose your all-star, you lose a top 10 quarterback, no matter how good your defense is, no matter how many good wide receivers you have and stuff like that, you better have a Tom Brady drafted 199 overall waiting in the wings, because outside of that, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. 100%. So, Broncos win over the Bills, but I don't know. I really don't know going into these conference championship games. So, without further ado, let's just talk about it. And because we already basically covered everything right there in the divisional round, there's not a whole lot to say here. The conference round is the Seahawks versus the Rams, and then the Patriots versus the Broncos, respectively. I'm only picking the Broncos because I don't want the Patriots in there. I'm sick of the Chiefs and I'm sick of the Patriots. Let's get their ass out of here. I do not need to see them. And the Patriots getting here, due to the fact that they had the weakest schedule of all time, then fought against players who decided to have their worst games of all time, does not impress me. It still does not impress me. And now they go up against a Broncos without a quarterback. And I'm just sitting there going, my God, like, could the way be paved more? It couldn't, like, Tom Brady, even Tom Brady didn't have shit scripted this well since Deflategate. You know what I'm saying? Like, even he didn't have scripted. Like, this is so fucking scripted. It's insane. I'm hoping that the Seahawks destroy the Rams, even though the Rams are my second team. Seahawks have such a better chance up against, assuming that I'm wrong and the Patriots do beat the Broncos, which is more likely to happen. I would rather see the Seahawks go in and face off against the Patriots in the Super Bowl than the Rams would, because I feel like the Rams would be a close neck, uphill battle, low scoring, and it would come down to the wire. Where the Seahawks, I feel, will or would keep up the pressure for the majority of the game and keep the control of the game. So if the Rams are on fire and defeat the Seahawks, then I need that same fire that defeated the Seahawks to go into the Super Bowl. And I'm just worried that they won't. I'm worried that that flame will burn out by the time the Super Bowl hits. So I've got more faith in the Seahawks keeping their consistency, beat up on the Rams, and then double down and destroy the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's my prediction here. But as I said, I'm hoping that the Rams win and the Broncos win, and then it's all gravy, baby. But I'm picking the Seahawks to win, and I'm picking and hoping for the Broncos. I'm hoping that, we have a backup quarterback here who's like 30 years old or whatever like that, but he's chomping at the bit to prove himself. You imagine, in a conference game up against New England, it might not be Tom Brady, but it's like, all right, everyone say we're going to lose. I'm going to go in there and show them we can win. He's got a lot of stress on his shoulders, but he's also got a lot of drive right there to make shit happen. So, as far as I'm concerned, there is a chance any given Sunday, as they say. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. That's it for me. I don't have much air left in my lung, and my back is killing me. So we're going to call it right there. Have a good one. See you, everybody.